So I think you might be wondering, well, what's the answer to the question on the title card for this video? Did DMV SoloRider, the man who loves his Indian Chieftain, who raves about his Indian Chieftain, did he actually trade it in for a road glide? Now, I know what those of you who have seen my videos might be thinking. You know, that road glide with its red paint job, the white stripe, that's actually pretty reminiscent of DMV SoloRider's Indian Scout paint job. Maybe he got sucked in by nostalgia. And he said, God, you know, probably the one thing I'm not crazy about my Chieftain is the paint job. Like, yeah, it's black, it's matte black, that's nice, but everyone has a black motorcycle. You know, it's not unique, it's not novel. And my old Scout stuck out, man. That thing was flashy. Like I said, it was American graffiti, gorgeous. So was that enough? Did that take me out of the grasp of Indian and send me to the dark side? What some people say is the dark side. I actually have no issues with Harley. Well, let's see. That's right. My very dirty, covered with bugs, Indian Chieftain is still with us. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. It was a close call. We are in Nanjemoy, Maryland. As you'll know if you've watched my videos, this is my favorite ride in the whole DMV. It's not really a ride video. I'm not going to repost the map. You can go back into my old videos and go to my Google Drive page and download the map and GPS coordinates for this ride. I just wanted to come down here and ride my baby, my Chieftain, and get some stuff off my mind. So, you know, the answer is no, this isn't just a way to post a new test ride video or get your attention. There were times earlier today at a Harley-Davidson dealer where I was whipping out my calculator and running numbers. You know, is this really something I might do? Thinking about what they're offering me for my Chieftain, what their bike costs, all of that. And, you know, I'm sure those of you who watch my videos are probably wondering, well, what the heck is this all about? This is a guy who loves his Chieftain, he raves about his Chieftain, and it's true, I have. It's a great motorcycle. You know, Harley's business model is, you know, it's a Harley. We'll sell you a nice basic bike and you can build it from there, and there's a rich third-party ecosystem to help you do that. Indian doesn't have that, obviously. The Indian motorcycle brand has been around longer than Harley, but Indian motorcycle company that exists today is not that same company. They bought the name. They're making motorcycles where they attempt to include styling cues, dating, you know, tying back to the Indian of old, and that's great. At the end of the day, though, it's still a new motorcycle company, and their market share is trifling compared to Harley-Davidson. And, you know, from my perspective, if you're the new kid on the block, you want to do things differently. And Indian's doing that in some ways. You know, Indian motorcycles tend to have far better equipment features than Harleys. You know, you go get a Challenger today, it's going to have everything already on it, plus the fastest engine in its class. For Harley, you know, you get a 107, you can build it up, a 114, build it up. But, you know, everything costs a lot. You get a lot more for your money with Indian. But about a month ago, something happened. I can't remember. I think I may have mentioned it in some of my videos. Indian came out with an update for Ride Command for its 2020 baggers and touring models that introduces CarPlay. And they announced that it was only for the 2020 models. So my 2019 Chieftain isn't getting CarPlay through Indian. And I'll be honest with you guys, that really chaps my ass. It's bad enough that a motorcycle that I bought this year isn't getting what I consider to be a really meaningful software update. I mean, I know Indian has put a lot of R&D into Ride Command, but its navigation sucks compared to like Waze or Google Maps. And it should, because it's not a mapping company or a software company. It builds great motorcycles. And I don't care how much R&D they invest in Ride Command, it's never going to be as good as my iPhone or your Android device. And, you know, as I saw the announcement and I started to make inquiries, well, is this something I can upgrade my 2019 with? Can I buy a new Ride Command module, put it in my bike? And, you know, it'll cost money, but that's better than not having it at all. And so I contacted Indian, and the answer was, sorry, but CarPlay is only available on the 2020s because the 2020s have an entirely new Ride Command hardware that includes a cellular antenna that doesn't exist on my Ride Command. So the short of it is, if you buy a 2020 bike, it gets live traffic and weather through a cellular internet connection, and it'll have CarPlay. After your 2-year warranty is over and that free traffic and weather ends, you have the option of subscribing to Indian to pay for live traffic and weather on your Ride Command navigation. What's on my screen right now, you know, their newer version. And if you don't want to pay, you don't have to. But when they shut off the service, you can't use CarPlay any longer. So basically, Indian is using CarPlay to bootstrap itself into a new subscription service for live traffic and weather that you otherwise would have on your cell phone that you're using with CarPlay. And that really pisses me off. The fact of the matter is, Indian's trying to monetize individual apps and streaming internet features on your motorcycle through their new box. This is the kind of thing we've seen time and time again, and it always fails miserably. The fact of the matter is, when you buy something that's expensive, you don't want to be nickeled and dimed throughout the whole time you own that device. And I guess Indian hasn't quite learned that. But here's what really rubs me, is somehow I was asked to do a survey based on my Indian ownership. And the survey was all about my interest in connected features on a motorcycle. And ultimately it was, what kinds of things do you use, you know, navigation, streaming music, that kind of stuff. And what would you be willing to pay, and on what basis, for those different applications? You know, would you be willing to pay $1 a month for a music streaming app, or $1 a month for a navigation app with traffic, that kind of stuff? And what I said was, I have all of that on my phone. I'm not willing to pay a dime to do it all on my motorcycle. And I left a further note saying, you know, my car has CarPlay, and my car manufacturer has invested a lot of money into that infotainment system. And my car company, I think I mentioned this during my review of my Chieftain, my car company's, I don't know if it was head of marketing, product development, whatever, basically said, we're not going to nickel and dime the customer. We're going to do CarPlay and Android Auto because we can't stomach the idea that someone would choose a competitor's vehicle based on something as dumb as what phone they have. So, you know, that manufacturer does both phone software. They don't charge you for it at all. In fact, the last time I got a new vehicle, it had, their up-to-date infotainment system, and I didn't even get navigation in it because I'll never use it. I just plug my phone in and use Waze or Google Maps or whatever. And I'm just glad that they actually had that version of it where I could do everything I want through my phone and save myself a poor user experience. But Indian hasn't learned that lesson. So in this survey that I got, they were basically asking, what are you willing to spend so we can make more money on a very expensive motorcycle you've already purchased? And I answered, as you would guess, I said there's really very little chance I would give you a dime for any of that. Worst case scenario, if I had to, I could put my phone right on my handlebars and have all that for what I'm already going to pay on my phone and my wireless service. I mean, the reality is, I can't bring my motorcycle into an office. I can't bring my motorcycle into my living room. I bring my phone everywhere. Why should I be paying my motorcycle company to do all the same things my phone already does? Not interested. They don't pay for CarPlay. It's free. Apple may have certain requirements they have to comply with, like being able to connect a microphone so you can use Siri, theoretically, as part of their CarPlay license. But, okay. I cannot imagine for a minute that my version of Ride Command doesn't have enough computing power to mirror CarPlay to a satisfactory way so that, it's a good user experience, it meets Apple's requirements, meets Indian's expectations. But this box doesn't have the cellular antenna for them to try and nickel and dime me, so they don't want to do it. And it pissed me off. Really pissed me off. Like, really pissed me off so much that after I kind of did a last-minute test ride of some Harleys last week, just for fun to film them, they're coming, I'll get them up on the channel. I actually liked the Road Glide. I liked its fairing. I liked the way it cut through the wind on that test ride. And, it made me curious. As you guys know from my review and from watching my videos, I got this little visor extension on my Chieftain because I get a lot of buffeting, even with a 12-inch windshield. And it wears on you on a long ride. It's like a woodpecker knocking on your helmet. And so when I rode that Road Glide, I was pretty dazzled. Now, admittedly, I was not on a highway, and you'll see the test ride. But I got it up to 55 miles an hour in fourth gear, and there was nothing. It was like a cone of silence, a cone of calm. So it was a pretty eye-opening experience. And, I've ridden the Challenger a couple times. Again, that review is also coming. Not review, test ride. Just a fun ride. I don't recall in either time I rode the Challenger coming away from that bike saying, wow, holy moly. I mean, yeah, it's fast. It's got that. All these bikes are fast, and they're all baggers, so it's not like they're sport bike fast. So anyways, when I got done on like a 5-minute ride on a Road Glide, I came away saying, damn. I couldn't believe how pleasant it was to ride that bike at 55 miles an hour and not feel the woodpecker that I get on my Chieftain. So, I'm thinking about that Road Glide ever since I rode it. And I'm stewing over CarPlay. Just pissed. It's such a dumb thing. And it's getting to be the end of the 2020 model year, so those 2020s are all going to go on sale. Who knows? Maybe I'll go buy a Road Glide. But of course, that was a 5-minute test ride. You got to do more than that. So I basically made an appointment to go do a test ride at a Harley dealer near me. And I was in there today. We're looking at all the different bikes, the 107, the 114, different paint jobs, different features and functionality, etc., etc. And you know, looking at RDS, that's their equivalent of Smart Lean. Looking at their infotainment system, looking at their linked brakes, which I actually really like. And you know, I spent quite a while there, talked about the bike at length. They knew I'd already ridden it briefly. They knew why I was considering it. They knew I felt like an idiot for hypothetically trading in a bike that I otherwise love for a new motorcycle after 6 months for something as dumb as CarPlay. But you know, they basically were like, you're not the only one. And when it comes to the bells and whistles of a motorcycle, they say they get lots of people coming in looking at Harley touring bikes for the bells and whistles, not the power. Because all these motorcycles, they're all in the same general class. I promise, you know, I've ridden them all. You're not going to miss power in one to the other. You know, the Challengers of the Challenger, the Road Glide, the Street Glide, and the Chieftain, and the Roadmaster. The Challenger is the most powerful. You're not going to miss it on a Chieftain. You're not going to miss it on a Street Glide or a Road Glide. I'm telling you, I've ridden them all. I've gunned them all. You're not going to miss it. So I finally, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm talking with them. They made me a good offer on the Chieftain. You know, first offer, no negotiating. Their first offer right out of the gate was a good one. A fair one, given that this bike already has almost 10,000 miles on it, and it's only 6 months old. I mean, I thought it was a good first offer. And, you know, came time to ride the bike, and I rode it. And I like the Road Glide. When it comes to riding at high speed on the highway, that shark fin fairing does things that my Chieftain cannot do. And I don't know that my Chieftain will ever do it. But, you know, in the first time I rode it, I didn't ride it on the highway. Today I did. And it is good on the highway. It's not perfect. You still feel the wind. But where on my Chieftain I get like a woodpecker banging on my helmet, on the Road Glide it's more, it directs all the air around you in a way that is like uniform. It's hard to explain, but I felt like I was in a bubble of air. It felt more like pressure, gentle pressure, as opposed to wind or anything smashing my head. You still felt it, but it was comfortable. And sitting on that bike doing long miles on the highway, I think would probably be enjoyable, more enjoyable than my Chieftain, to be honest. But here's the thing with the Road Glide. It feels a lot heavier than my Chieftain at low speeds. You know, when you come to a stop, it's a little higher off the ground, so I can't even really get the balls of my feet on the ground. I can get like my toes on the ground, which, I mean, it is what it is. You know, if I keep one foot on the brake and then have one foot down, it's not a problem. But you feel that weight in a way that you do not feel on the Chieftain or even the Challenger. Not even close. When I'm at a stop, if I have both feet down on my Chieftain, the balls of my feet are on the ground, it's like, you know, you're barely touching the ground just to keep the bike upright. It's just so easy, so comfortable, not a problem. On the Road Glide, it's heavier. You're aware of it at all times. It feels heavier. When you got that one foot down, you feel that weight against your body. And I just kept saying to myself, man, that would really suck in stop and go traffic. Like, I've ridden plenty of stop and go traffic on my Chieftain, and I don't know that I'd really want to do that on a Road Glide. Not me, not my size. And again, I think it's probably overall a better experience on the highway, but it is not like a bubble of calm and silence. You still feel plenty. It just feels different. And the other thing with the Road Glide is, you know, I still have my neck and shoulder issues, so I'm going to have to bring the bars back, and you never know what's that really going to do. You know, a different seating position, what's that going to do to the airflow with that shark fin fairing. So it's always possible that when I get a Road Glide set up the way that works for me, I might do something that doesn't really work. Who knows? Anyway, so after the test ride, we sat down, and the sales guy's, look, I can go get you more for your bike. This seemed to be what he was indicating, and it's it's like the second to last day of the month. They're trying to move a bike, that red and white bike that I rode. That paint scheme ain't for everybody. And I'm just gonna be honest with you, there was a layer of dust on the black parts, so that bike hadn't been touched in a while. And my guess is they were real eager to move it. And if I had to guess, based on all my experience buying cars and motorcycles to date, I probably could have gotten out of my Chieftain free and clear, which would have been fine because I didn't put any money down on it. And I think I would have gotten a really good price on that Road Glide. But I just told him, I said, I gotta be honest with you, because of the way the bike feels at slow speeds, at low speed, and at stops, and while the shark fin fairing is definitely fantastic on the highway, it's not the panacea that I thought it was the first time I rode it. Like, it's really nice. It's nicer than the Chieftain at high speed on the highway, but you still feel stuff. It's not perfection. I kind of was expecting to get on that bike and feel absolutely nothing, and that wasn't really the case. It was still better than my Chieftain, I'm not gonna lie, but it wasn't so amazing that I was just like, holy smokes, like it was when I was riding on a 3-lane road at 55 miles an hour. That felt impressive. Today's test ride was less so on a highway. Who knows? That's just the way it felt to me. So I told him, I said, look, it's a real nice bike. Appreciate all your time, but having now ridden it on the highway, ridden it around town, I like my Chieftain better. I like the way my Chieftain feels. I like the way it's balanced. I like the way it feels at low speed. And, yeah, I've got buffeting, and I've got to keep working on that. But the benefits of the shark fin fairing weren't quite enough to make me trade my Chieftain on the Road Glide. That was the conclusion I came to today, even with the CarPlay. Like, I'm dumb for wanting to do this in part because of CarPlay, but the promise of CarPlay on a Road Glide wasn't enough to make me want to give my Chieftain in for that motorcycle. And when I left the dealership and I rode home on my Chieftain, I had a huge grin because immediately I was so comfortable. I enjoy this motorcycle so immensely. Everything about it, aside from the buffeting and the uncomfortable seat, the engine, the torque, the handling, again, I can't underscore it enough. The amazing balance of this motorcycle. When you're at a stop, it takes virtually no effort to stay upright. There's no strength involved. You just tap dance it a little bit. And just, I love the Chieftain's inner fairing. Like, it's less. You have everything you need, but it isn't as big as a Street Glide, and it's not as big as the Challenger. The Challenger, its fairing is big. I feel like there's a wall of plastic in front of you. I will say on the Road Glide, I give it, the rider side of the fairing is probably my favorite of all of them. It's just got that slope, and it feels like it's a bit farther. It is farther away, but it gives you more room, and I kind of dig that. And that's kind of what I like about the Chieftain fairing as well. It's not overwhelming. It's pretty streamlined in here. But yeah, so, I wanted to come and film my thoughts on the test ride, spurred on by my bitterness with Indian over CarPlay, and, the point that I was making about Indian needs to be doing things better, not the same as Harley. Harley's going to charge you $500 in order to get CarPlay. I don't know what Indian charges for live traffic and weather on their 2020 baggers, but I'll bet you over 5 or 6 years it's probably about $500. I don't know. The point is, don't nickel and dime your owners. They spend a lot of money on a very well-equipped motorcycle. all the equipment should work without any extra subscription fees or any of that crap. So I wanted to come and vent, share my experience. I had a little fun with the thumbnail. I rode that bike. Before I rode it, I thought I was probably buying it today, to be honest with you. That first 5-minute ride of the Road Glide was so impressive to me that I had basically convinced myself over the past week that the Road Glide, that the way to solve my Chieftain buffeting issues was with the Road Glide. I swear to God, I had played that game in my mind for a week. And so when I went there and I saw their initial offer for the Chieftain, I knew, hey, if I really want this motorcycle, I can ride it home today. But I just didn't like it enough. You know, maybe a week from now I'll feel differently. I don't think so. The happiness I had getting back on my Chieftain to ride home was so good. It was so sweet. I love this motorcycle, man. I gotta figure out the buffeting. And so there is a chance that as I continue to do research on how to make this bike even more perfect for me with, you know, new windshield, buffeting solutions, a new seat, I will probably towards the end of the year contemplate trading my 2019 in on not a Road Glide, not a Challenger, but a 2020 Chieftain. And I'll get my CarPlay. I will have, so far, my favorite motorcycle. I chose this motorcycle over the Chieftain, or I chose the Chieftain over the Challenger. I've also chosen it over the Road Glide. That's how much I love this motorcycle, because both of those are amazing motorcycles. And, you know, I can always trade it in on a 2020. My hope is I would get as great a deal on a trade as Harley, I think, would have given me from Motorcycles of Dulles or Indian of Fredericksburg or who knows who else. And I can get CarPlay that way. The added benefit is I know that my setup on my Chieftain is just about perfect for me. And there's nothing different in the 2020 Chieftain and the 2019 Chieftain in terms of the frame, size, etc. I can put my handlebars, my handlebar risers on the new one. If I end up having a new windshield, I can put that on the new one. So, lots of options for me in figuring all of this out. And just, you know, I'm always interested in other people's comments, what they have to say, what their thoughts are. So don't hesitate to put comments down below. I will respond as soon as possible. And if for whatever reason you don't want to make public comments, don't hesitate to email me. Email address is DMV SoloRider@gmail.com. And as you know, I now have an Instagram account. I have a Twitter. I have a Reddit account. I'll put all that up on the screen with my addresses. You can always hit me up there. Yeah, I mean, you know, talk to me, baby. I want to hear from you. And that's what I got for you today. Just wanted to shoot the breeze and share what was going on with my little Road Glide thumbnail. Anyways, if you enjoyed my ramblings today, I'd certainly appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up. I put my ride or ride-related videos out on Fridays, so hit the subscribe button, click that notification bell so you're made aware when I put a new video up. And until the next time, whether it is a test ride, or a ride where I show you a map and the GPS coordinates on my Google Drive page, or it's just me rambling like a crazy man, I will see you then.